Hi, I'm Wilson, and in today's Inkscape tutorial, I'm going to show you how to download Inkscape, create a graphic for Facebook banners, and show you how to import your finished image. If you're in a rush, here is a table of contents. In order to download Inkscape, you have to go to inkscape.org. Link will be in the description. Once you get to inkscape.org, hover your mouse over to the download area and click Current Version. Now, since I'm using Windows 10, I'm going to click on the Windows icon right here. Now, there are two versions I can download, the 64-bit or the 32-bit version. In order for me to figure out what's the proper version I should download, I'm going to click on the Windows icon and type the word About. And then I'm going to click About Your PC. Now I'm going to look for an area that says System Type, which is right here. And it says here I have a 64-bit operating system. I'm going to go ahead and click on 64-bit. And I'm going to click on Installer in EXE format. After clicking the link, we just have to wait a moment for the file prompt to open. After waiting, we're going to see this pop up. We're going to click on Save File. After clicking Save File, we're just going to wait for the program to download in our computer's download folder. Now that the file is saved, I'm going to go ahead and go on my Windows Explorer and then go to the Downloads folder. By default, whenever you download something from the internet, it'll be in the Downloads folder. I'm going to go ahead and click on the Inkscape application. And I'm going to click on Yes. I'm going to go ahead and exit off of this area. And when I see this, I'm going to click on Next. Click on Next again. Click I agree. Now, what we're going to do is click on Create Inkscape Desktop Icon. And then click Next. Click Next. Next again. And click Install. And then we just wait a while. Now that the program is ready to go, make sure Run Inkscape is turned on. And then click Finish. Now by default, this welcome screen pops up like so. What we're going to do is go to Quick Setup, and then we're going to click on the dark theme. That way the user interface is easier on the eyes. Then we're going to click on Time to Draw. We're going to uncheck the box that says Show this every time. That way, when you want to access Inkscape a little faster, this will not get in your way. We're going to go ahead and click on New Document. Now that we just opened Inkscape, what we're going to have to do is set the document to the standards for a Facebook banner. What we're going to do is go to File, and we're going to go to Document Properties. When this opens up, the Document Properties window, we're going to go ahead and go to the units and set it to pixels. For the width, we're going to clean that out here, and we're going to set it to 820 pixels wide. And then for the height, we're going to set it to 360 pixels. If you scroll down, or if you notice here, we're going to uncheck Show Border Shadow. And then where it says Background Color, go ahead and click on this area. By default, it'll be set to RGB, but sometimes it'll be set to HSL or HSV. Either way, what we're going to do is take the transparency and turn it to 100. And if you notice here, this part of the box turns solid white. I'm going to show you what happens. You see, the transparency is set to 0, and now it's transparent. Again, set it to 100, and we're going to click the X icon. Now that we have our document set up, what I'm going to do is use my middle click button on my mouse and just hold it down and move. Middle click mouse button, drag and move. There you go. I'm going to go ahead and exit off the document properties because I have it set properly. Now what we're going to do is set up some guides. The most important tool you're going to have to know before we set the guides is the selection tool, and later on we're going to work on using the text tool. But for now, we're just going to focus on this. If you're on any tool by accident, or you might have hit something, just go ahead and go back to the selection tool right here, or use the S key on your keyboard. What I'm going to go ahead and do is set up the guides necessary. Guides are important because they can be used as a reference point to let you know this will be the cropping area of the image. I will illustrate that right now. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is click on a ruler right here and then drag this guideline. And then I'm going to go ahead and double click on the line. Just double click on the guideline until you see this pop up. Make sure that the measurements are set in pixels. And what you're going to do is go to the X and we're going to set it to 90.49. And for the Y, we're going to set it to -0. And then we're going to click on lock and click OK. Then we're going to repeat the step again. We're going to go ahead and click onto the ruler and drag a guide, double click, and we're going to insert this specific coordinate. What we're going to type, well, actually before we type, again, set it to pixels, go on the X, and we're going to set it to 729.49. Oops, sorry. Set it to 729.49, and then we're going to set the Y to -0. And we're going to click the lock, and then go ahead and click OK. Now we're going to need guides from here. So what I'm going to do is click on the ruler here, and then move it all the way down here. Go ahead and click the guide. And then what I'm going to go ahead and do is set it to -0. Oh, I almost forgot. Pixels. Never forget to set it to pixels. So, -0. And then for the Y, I'm going to set it to 335.5. Make sure it's set to pixels, click lock, and click OK. Then what I'm going to go ahead and do is grab another guide, set it right here, double click, set it to pixels, and I'm going to set the X to -0 and set the Y to 24.49. Click the lock and click OK. Now, this middle area represents the safe zone, while the areas on the other side represent the cropped image area. The safe zone will help you know for a fact that what you're going to do is have an image that will not be interrupted when posting it on Facebook. Now that we have our document set up, what we're going to do is convert this document into a template. So I'm going to click on File, and I'm going to click on Save Template. What I'm going to go ahead and do is click on the name area. I'm going to type Facebook banner. and then I'm going to click on Set as Default Template. Now, when you set it as a default template, what's going to happen is every single time you open Inkscape, it'll be set to that default template. I'm going to click on Save. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to exit out of Inkscape. Close without saving. I'm going to open Inkscape again. And as you notice, the welcome message did not appear. And on top of that, the template is ready to go. Now, if you want to save the document that is right here so you can have a backup of a template, that's quite fine. What we're going to go ahead and do to save this file is go to File, and we're going to Save As. Go on Desktop, and then right here, I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call it Facebook Banner Template. And I'm going to make sure it's set to Inkscape SVG. An SVG file is the file that Inkscape reads, so that way you can open and manipulate your images at will. It's set to desktop. I just named it. It's set to SVG, and I'm going to click on Save. I'm going to go ahead and exit off and click on the Facebook banner file. Oh, I just realized I just downloaded this on Windows 10. So what I'm going to do is click Always Use This App to open .svg files. Click on that, click on Inkscape, and click OK. The great thing about Inkscape is you have the ability to take images that are on your desktop or other folders and just drag and drop them to Inkscape. In this example, I'm going to take the shield icon, which is a JPG or a JPEG file. I'm going to click, drag, hold, and move it here. All you have to do is leave this as default and just click OK. I'm going to zoom out, and by zooming out, I'm just holding the Control key and I'm using the mouse wheel to go back and forward. And as you can see here, I have my image. And if you want to import another way, there is. All you have to do is click on File, and then we're going to go to Import. I'm going to go to Desktop, scroll down, and there's my JPG file. I know I want that in my document. I'm going to click on Open. And again, you can click OK. And there's our image. Now what we're going to do with this image is manipulate it so it can fit within the document. As we can see, the image is rather large. We're going to go ahead and make sure that our selection tool is there. We're going to click on it. And if you want, you can also use the letter S, like in Shield, on your keyboard. Go ahead and click on the icon that you may have of your own. And then notice these arrows here, here, and all around the shield. These arrows represent that you can scale the image. I'm going to go ahead and bring it back to a default. And then if I click on it again, the arrows are more rounder. And what this does is it allows you to rotate the image. Also, if you notice on the sides, I can skew the image how I want. I'm going to go ahead and just fix that. By the way, I'm using Control Z to edit undo that. You can also go to Edit, and you can also look for Undo. But just as a shortcut, use Control Z. So, again, you have your selection tool. You click once, you can change the size from corner, sides, top, and bottom. But if you click again, you can skew the image or you can rotate the image. And if you want to go back to size, just click again, and you can see that the arrows turn back in that format. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the image, and I'm going to hold down Control and Shift. Then I'm going to click on this corner of the logo that I have, and I'm going to click, hold, and drag it upwards. I'm dragging my mouse upwards to shrink it down to size. And I'm going to move the image right here. I'm going to shrink it down just a little bit more, and there you go. I actually like where the shield is, and I'm going to leave it there permanently. And you're probably asking, how are you going to leave it there permanently? It's quite simple. You click on the icon, you right click, and you click on Lock Selected Object. If you notice the object, I can't click on it anymore. I'm clicking on it, but it's not moving. And you're probably wondering, how can I unlock it? Make sure your mouse is on the image. You're going to right click, and you're going to click Unlock Objects below. There you have it. Now you can select it and move it around. But in this case, because I know for a fact I'm going to keep editing this file and keep uploading images on the banner, I'm going to go ahead and go to Lock Selected Objects. And there you go. It's locked again. Okay, the next thing we're going to do with this image is add some text. I'm going to go ahead and click on the text tool, which is right here. And I'm going to click anywhere I want. I'm going to go ahead and just type in something random like, shields up. And I'm going to go ahead and use the selection tool. It looks really nice. It's just a simple little message right there. Now, what I'm going to do is go to the text tool, and I'm going to go ahead and change the font. Let's see what fonts I have available. That looks nice. Maybe Franklin. That's even better. In case you're wondering how I changed the font, first thing you want to do is have your text tool selected, then select the text and highlight every letter. You're going to go to this area and you can choose whatever text you have available on your text file in your operating system. Once you select it, the text will change. Now, when it comes to this area here, anywhere between a 25-point font or a 30-point font will work. And you're probably wondering, what are you talking about? Well, I'm just talking about the size. Now, if you notice here, it says 30. I'm going to go ahead and crank it up to 48. Okay, that works. That works perfectly. Whenever you want to add text to your graphic, I highly recommend using a text editor like Microsoft Word, Google Docs, or LibreOffice Writer, as long as it has spell check enabled. The reason being is because Inkscape's version of their spell check doesn't work all the time. I'm going to go ahead and take this off. I'm going to go ahead and do this and open a quote that I want to put into Inkscape. What I'm going to demonstrate is how you can copy and paste text from an other source and paste it into Inkscape. I'm going to go ahead and open this quote file. I'm going to select all the text. I'm going to right click and then hit copy. I'm going to go ahead to Inkscape, maximize, and I'm going to go ahead to the text tool. Oh, that's okay. If you hit a tool 2 or 3 times really fast, that'll pop up. Just hit exit if that ever happens. Just click once, you're on the text tool, and you're ready to type. And then, oh, by the way, you have to click in order to be able to type. And I'm going to right click and hit paste. The best defense is a good offense. As you can see, the text goes way ahead of the borders that I set up, and that's going to get cropped off when I post it on Facebook. What I'm going to go ahead and do is just hit enter. That way it fits in the lines. And I'm going to select all the text. You can hit Control A. And I'm probably going to just set it to 25. Yeah, 25 is not a bad font right there. And just set it where I please. Now that I like how my image looks, I'm going to make sure I have nothing selected. If you want to know how a selected object looks like, just simply do that and you're going to see that. I'm going to unselect everything and I'm going to make sure I save the file. So I'm going to go to File, Save As, Facebook Banner Template SVG. But I'm going to put with image and text. You can name it however you want. I'm going to make sure desktop is selected. File name is all set. It's set to Inkscape SVG, and I'm going to click Save. Now the important part is going to happen, and that is we're going to export this image. We're going to click on File, and then go to Export PNG Image. And then if you notice, you have quite a plethora of settings here. Don't worry about these images. As long as nothing is selected, you'll be fine. What we're going to do is we're going to click on Page and make sure Page is set right there. The reason why we're going to set it to Page is because whatever size document you created, whatever images is in that page will be exported. If you were to select Drawing, probably the shield or the text will be selected only, and that's the only thing that's going to be exported, and we don't want that. Now, if you have something selected, selection will be highlighted, and the only thing that will be exported will be the text. And again, we don't want that at all. Go ahead and unselect everything, and I'm going to click on Page. Now, what is really important is to set the DPI, which is right here. I'm going to set it to 300. DPI stands for dots per inch, and when it's set to 300, it'll export beautifully, and it'll come out great when it's on print and when it's online. Okay, so we have Page, 300 DPI, and now we're going to click on this icon, which is Export As. This is really important. Now I'm going to click on Desktop to make it easier for me to find. And then if I look at here, it'll say Facebook Banner Template with image and text. I'm going to go ahead and add a number 1, and I'm going to make sure that it's in portable format. So, yep, it's set to PNG. Perfect. And then I'm going to go ahead and click Save. Perfect. Now, go ahead and hit File and Save, because if you were to exit out, it'll ask you, do you want to save? I'm going to go ahead and minimize this. I'm not exiting off, I'm just minimizing the window. I'm going to exit off this here. And then go ahead and click on the banner I just made. And there you go. The banner is created. Now all I have to do is go on Facebook and upload this image. Now let's go back to the Inkscape. I know for a fact that I have to constantly change the text, change the fonts, put different quotes and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is save it as a template. So every single time I open Inkscape, I'm already ready to go. I'm going to go to File and Save Template. I'm going to call it Facebook Banner with image and text. And then I'm going to click on Set as Default Template and click Save. And again, click File, Save. The reason why I'm telling you to save again is because when you make a template, you have to save it again. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of here. And I'm going to open Inkscape all over again. Now I want to create another set of text, but I'm just going to change just one word. Well, not change, but just make a slight edit. And then look at that. Just switch up the words a little bit. And then I'm going to hit Export As. And I'm going to make sure I set it to Facebook Banner with text. Let's switch it to number 2 because that's the second one I just created, and click save. I'm going to minimize that. Oh, and look at that. I just made an error. And that error can be avoided by not selecting anything. The reason why I did this is to show you what happens if you go a little bit too fast when you're exporting. Now, I'm going to rectify that mistake. I'm going to make sure nothing is selected. Then I'm going to go to Page, make sure 300 dpi is set, and click Export As. And then I'm going to go ahead and do an override. So I'm going to hit 2. Facebook banner template with image and text, hit save. And yes, I want to replace it because there we go. The replacement is made. And there we go. I have another image for another week or another day. And I can keep doing this as many times as I want. Well, I hope you found this video very informative and very helpful. Please remember to click like, subscribe, and leave a comment. And if you wish to be charitable, there's a link in the description to support this channel. Thank you, and have a technological day.